I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Welcome to another episode of the Badass Mother podcast. It is now officially summer break where I am. I don't know if it is for you yet, but I always have mixed feelings about this time of year. Summer is my favorite time of year, but I feel like we get totally off of our schedule and our routine, which the free spirit side of me absolutely loves, and the productive businesswoman part of me does not love so much. But I make it through, and this year we have a lot of fun trips planned, and I have built my schedule to be able to work less than 20 hours a week. I'm going to be working probably about 12 to 16 hours a week this summer. And that feels pretty incredible. I used to think, if you were going to be making, the $8,000 to $10,000+ that goes into a six-figure business, that meant working like 100 hours a week, just keep working more to make more. And what I've kind of noticed is the better you get at your business, the more that you figure things out, the more that you just simplify and streamline and really throw out what doesn't work and really spend your time on the things that are really effective. So that is something that I try to do with all of my clients, even if they're starting out. But it wasn't how I started my business. I spent so much time on my business when I first started, just hustling away. And it feels really good to be in a place now where I am more focused on trust and organization and knowing that things are happening. This is working, and my belief in the fact that it is working. So I wish that for all of you over the course of this summer. I hope you are in the same place. I hope you have some amazing plans for your summer. And I want to encourage you, even if your summer hours are reduced from your regular hours, I still encourage you to make the time for your business, even if it is just a handful of hours a week. Continuing your momentum, continuing to build your momentum, even if it's a little bit, is so valuable. And it'll be such a gift to yourself come fall that you continued to feed this and continued to make progress in this, even if it wasn't necessarily in the terms that you thought that it should be or that you wanted it to be. So today I am talking about something that is totally inspired by my Facebook group yet again. I do on Wednesdays these threads where people in my group can post an offer or post something that's going on in their business that they want to pitch to the other people in the group. So I got to thinking today, I was scrolling through the post and was just kind of seeing like which offers resonate with me, which ones don't, which ones are catching my attention. I usually don't scroll through that thread, to be totally honest. I offer that up as a gift to everyone who is in my group. I know people in my group find amazing connections there, but that's not typically how I'm looking for people that I want to hire or that kind of thing. But I thought I should go through this and just take a look, see what's out there, see what's going on and see who's here in my group. And as I was doing it, I started to get the idea for this podcast episode about why your pitches are falling flat. So I noticed that some of these really spoke to me more than the others. Some of them really seemed to get more interaction than the others. And I wanted to do a little breakdown of the posts in that thread. I'm not going to call people out. I'm not going to quote them or anything like that, but just some general observations about what's working, what's not working, and what you can do differently to attract your ideal clients to your amazing, amazing offers. So, while this is inspired by the promo thread in my group, the lessons from this you can be using every time you're pitching your business, every time you're putting an offer out there, whether it's for a freebie or a consult call or a paid program or an email that you're sending to your list. Anytime you are communicating with your audience with an offer or with an ask, I think you can take these lessons and apply them. I also just wanted to do a quick side note to any of you who are like, oh, those promo threads aren't worth it. I always participate in the freebie ones. I have a graphic, a really high quality, nice graphic on my phone. And I have a message on my phone in the notes section with the link and everything saved, so that every time I'm scrolling on Facebook, which I typically do in the morning, which I know is so taboo, I think it's so funny that sometimes I'll have clients who will be like, I know that I'm not supposed to do this, and I know nobody successful does this. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely scroll on my phone in the morning and still have managed to be successful. Maybe someday I will stop. I do imagine if I was like a public figure or something with a lot of haters, I may avoid looking at social media and that kind of thing in the morning. But for me right now, it's kind of a nice way for me to just get my head on about the day, catch up, because I don't typically spend a lot of time on social media during the day unless there is downtime that's not scheduled for something else, which is rare. It's usually just like a spare minute here or there, or in like the carpool line or something like that. So I for sure pop in, see what's going on in the world, in my world, in the mornings. And that is a time where I often see these threads to share your stuff. I'll just pop them in there, go on with my day. It takes me a minute or less to do that whole process. And I get a fair amount of signups for my opt-ins doing that. So I think that there's value. Again, maybe when I am like $1 million business owner, this will not be how I am adding people to my list. But for now, it takes me a couple minutes a day and it attracts people to me, and it's definitely working. So we don't have to judge things just because we think maybe it's not what the guru says. Sometimes it just works, you guys, and it's okay to do it, especially if you're on the newer side. So let's get back to pitches. I'm going to start with what is working. These were the things that caught my eye out of this thread of offers that I felt like, yeah, that definitely works. The first one, interesting copy. So I think there's a lot of different ways to do this, but the common thread was that I was pulled in. So sometimes it would be funny, sometimes intriguing, sometimes speaking to a pain point. Sometimes I was telling a story, but something about the copy caught my attention and kept my attention. And sometimes these comments are long. Like they have a lot of details, a lot of like lead up to what their offer is. And sometimes I'm reading for the whole thing because I'm like, this is interesting. Where's this going? I wonder what the details are, you know? So interesting copy is for sure a secret, and it needs to be unique. I think that was what really made it stand out. It wasn't just interesting, it was unique. The second thing that I noticed that was working, speaking to your ideal client. So not everybody did this. it was maybe 50-50, maybe a little less on speaking to your ideal client, but absolutely reaching out to them and letting them know that you're talking to them from that first sentence, and really being specific that you're talking to them, being willing to turn off other people and turn away other people. Sometimes you'll see these promos where they're like trying to catch every fish, like kind of imagine them doing this weird dance, like moving their arms. That's what I'm doing right now. You can't see it because I'm not on a Facebook Live. But I'm kind of like imagining like they really want to get clients. So they really want to take anybody who's willing to say yes. So they're like doing this dance, trying to catch everybody who might be floating by. I think the most effective pitches and promos are the ones that are specifically talking to a narrow group of people. So when those people see it, they immediately know that you're talking to them. Third thing that's working, posting a freebie or something that's like an easy impulse buy. So even when it's a promo thread where you're allowed to post your paid thing, this is my personal opinion that putting your like $500, $2,000, whatever dollar thing in there is maybe not going to be the most effective. I really have had a lot of success posting freebies in every promo thread out there. I think sometimes it's kind of refreshing to be scrolling through a sea of like $199 and $97 offers and see something for free that sounds really good. That really helps it to stand out. I also have personally in the past bought impulse purchases from these threads. So something that's like $9 or $14 or something like that. I've also sold low cost courses like that before. I don't do that anymore, both the buying and the selling of those low ticket things. But, if you're offering that kind of thing, it can work there. The last thing that I noticed that was working, having a graphic with descriptive text. So not just having a picture, not just having a quote, not just having whatever image comes up with the website, but having a specific graphic that tells you what you're getting. I think that those can be highly effective. Let's get into what is not working. Number one is the wall of text. So sometimes we are not pressing Shift Enter and we are just writing and writing and writing, and it is many sentences all piled together. And you know what? People skim through those things. Like people skim everything. That's the real truth. They're skimming everything. But when our eyes try to skim a wall of text, it does not gain anything. It never like rests on something. It kind of like scans through to look for something to rest on, and it usually doesn't find it. And then it just says like, not going to read, and then scrolls past. So be really conscious about that. And sometimes like if you need to type it up in the notes section of your phone to be able to copy and paste and that kind of thing to get those paragraph breaks in there, absolutely do that, because wall of text is not attracting clients. The second thing, this is a personal pet peeve of mine, beta tests. So I do have a caveat here. Beta tests I have filled and I have signed up for in the past, but this is what I have learned about beta tests. First of all, the people who see you advertising them are not perceiving you to be an expert. They are perceiving you to be a beginner. Beta test screams, I just put this thing together and I'm not sure if it works. Want to pay to find out, or want to spend your time finding out? So that's one thing. The type of people that beta tests attract are probably not your ideal clients. They're usually DIYers. They're usually coupon bargain hunters. They are not premium clients. And I feel confident stating that out loud, and not like I'm calling out you beta testers out there, because I used to be you. I truly did. And I had to get really honest with myself that when I was a beta tester, I was not all in. I was not fully invested. And so I was not getting the real results that I wanted to get from the beta program. When I have run beta tests, I had a lot of quitters, a lot of people who didn't finish it. So I just wanted to say, like, yes, people will probably flock to your beta test, especially if it's free, but how valuable is it really to you? What is your real goal there? Like, do you really not know if your program's good, or are you just afraid to charge a higher price? And are you trying to lure people in with a lower one because you don't really believe in it yet? So be honest with yourself about the beta test thing. The third one, dropping a link without an explanation. This is a big fat no, you guys. Who is going to click on this mystery link? Like, what is this going to be? Like, what if you got an email in your inbox that was just a link? You would not be clicking on that at all, especially if the email came from a stranger, right? So really think this through. Dropping a link without an explanation is so goofy. No, stop. What I would do, if the link has the explanation of what you are offering, I would just pull some of that text off and have that be your intro. And once they click on the link, if they read it again, that is totally fine. I have done that for sure in the past. Number 4, kind of touching back on those graphics, because yes, having a graphic with descriptive text works. But here's when it doesn't work: when your graphic looks like you made it in Microsoft Paint. I don't know if any of you were as obsessed with Microsoft Paint as I once was. I was a big fan when I was like 12 years old. I was all over Microsoft Paint, but I do not use it anymore for my graphics, and I'm pretty experienced now with graphics. If you are not sure if your graphic is good, if you kind of think it's bad, I would get a second opinion from somebody who will be honest. I always make it a point in threads when people post their graphic and they're like, what do you think? And everyone's like, that's cute. I come in and say, nope, it doesn't look professional. And of course, I try to say it in a kind way, but I think it's important to get those honest opinions, because crappy graphics really undermine your business a lot. And it doesn't matter how much experience and knowledge you have. Like, you may be the best person in your field, and bad graphics make you look like a total amateur, like you've never had a client in your life. So I really encourage you, if you cannot make excellent graphics, they should not be a part of your post. And for me, excellent graphics often are just very simple. Like, sometimes simpler is better. If you look at mine, you will see they are all quite simple, and that is the secret to my success with graphics. Number 5, too many emojis. Okay, so I kind of feel like emojis have been taken over by multi-level marketing companies. Like, every time I see a ton of emojis in a post, I assume that it is like a distributor for like a shakes and wrap type company who is trying to get me to join their team and make $500 a day using just my phone. Like, those are the associations that I have now. And this is coming from a big time emoji lover. Like, I love emojis so much. I'm never giving them up. I'm always going to use them, but I've cut back on using them a lot in my posts, and I don't use a ton of them like I used to. And that is why. So, cut back on the emojis. One can be really funny. More than that can get into a borderline gray area. And like multiple emojis per sentence is a no-go. All right, the last thing that I noticed that is not working is corporate style advertising. Okay, this is often for you network marketers where you have received some like marketing credentials or whatever, collateral, I think is the right word, marketing collateral, from your corporate office. And so you are sharing it, and then what you're writing about it is just meh. Like it's just, maybe it's like, we're having a Father's Day sale or whatever. And it's like, nah, like that's not really inspiring anybody into action. So I really encourage you to shift away from that, and not be too much in that. Sometimes it's great graphics, and then you can pair that with a super personal type description with it. Like your caption with it can be really personal. But I think it's just kind of a fine line to walk. And then for the rest of you with your independent businesses, you can get into this corporate style advertising sometimes too. And it really just doesn't speak to people. There's a reason that corporations are trying to seem more like people. Like if you look at some big businesses over on Twitter, like if you look at Wendy's, for instance, on Twitter, they are engaging in people's like retweets and subtweets and whatever else, like they are a single, like teenage girl or something like that, not a large corporation. So when you see big companies trying to seem like one person, you do not then want to flip around and be the one person who's trying to seem like a big company. It's just not what is selling and compelling people right now. So let's get into what to do differently. I have a few thoughts here, a few opinions, and I think that these will really help you a lot in your pitching and in your offers. What to do differently. Number one, be a real human. And not just that, but be fully you. Really let yourself loose. Let your personality come out. Be goofy. One of the funniest and best converting pitches that I ever did for a paid thing that I would post in these group threads was something where like I put the price in the description. And the price was like so low, like crazy low. And I just like kind of made fun of that. I was just like, I said something like, this is a banana's low price or something like that. And I put a banana emoji in. Like it was cheesy, you guys, but cheesy is who I am. And it really converted well. Lots of people clicked on it. People bought it. So just let yourself be yourself. Really unfiltered, just really, I can't emphasize it enough to be yourself and let that uniqueness and quirkiness shine through. It will attract so many more people than if you are trying to be a professional robot. Next thing, speak to your ideal client's pain points. Here's the hard truth. No one cares that it's your birthday and that's why you're doing a sale. No one cares about the number of years of experience you have or your educational background or your why in business. I know people tell you that your ideal clients care about those things, but when we're looking at these quick soundbite pitches, they really, really don't. When someone's making a sales decision, they care about themselves. They care about what they're struggling with and if they think that you can fix it for them. If they really believed that you had the solution for the problem that they have, they would be all over it. So as you're speaking to their pain points, what you want to really tap into is explaining their problem better than they can explain it. That is how you get clients. And that is true for your sales conversations, your pitches, your sales pages, your social media posts, your email call to actions, all of these things. It is so true when you are speaking to their pain point. You're explaining it better than they can, and then you are matching your solution to it. That is how you create eager, ready clients. The next thing to do differently, remember that this person is probably new to you. And you should think about, how can I use this interaction that we're going to have when they scroll through the thread and see my thing as a way to start a relationship with them, instead of rushing to make a big sale right away. And you can kind of think of this the same as dating. Like, this is an invitation to talk more. This is an invitation maybe to get coffee or to private message each other, not an invitation to jump into bed when you first matched with them or when you first met them. So keep that in mind. They may be new to you and they may need a little more relationship building before they take the big leap with you. Next thing, make it easy to read. This kind of goes back to the wall of text. This doesn't necessarily mean it has to be short. If it is really captivating or interesting, people will read it. Not everyone. Like, some people are just diehard, I'm not going to read very much. But there are many people who are willing to go in deep with something that's interesting. Last week, I was talking about people who are reading hundreds and hundreds of comments on threads, and how I friended somebody from one of those threads because her comment was so good. So I don't want you to feel like this means that it has to be super short, but make it easy to read for them. Like, break it up into short paragraphs, that kind of thing, so that they can easily skim through. Final little tip here on what to do differently: read back through your pitch. Either before you post it, after, whatever, read back through it. And really pay attention to how you respond to it. Did you read through it and feel and think, hell yes, 3 fire emojis, 5 exclamation points? If not, a total stranger is not going to either, because they care about your business less than you do. The mindset you are in when you write your pitch deeply matters. This is not just something you're throwing together to check it off your list. I want you to really picture one person, your ideal client, who's struggling profoundly with the problem that you solve, and then write to them. Really think about this. How can I connect with them? How can I deepen a relationship or start a relationship with them by having them read this? How can I inspire them to reach out to me by reading this? That's going to serve you so much. All right, those are my thoughts about your pitches and why they're working and why they're not working. And I hope that you have gained something from this. I hope you're able to learn from this and make some shifts. I really can't wait to hear and maybe see in my group what kinds of tweaks and changes and additional success comes from the tips in this episode. So if you love it, I would love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, in my group, or leave me a review wherever you listen to podcasts and let me know what you think. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.